Should Christians vote Democrat? Episode 24. This is the Bible Ranger, and we'll be talking about faith in the elections. And hopefully, it's really close to the elections, a couple of weeks or so. And hopefully, I can help you unmuddy some of the waters. All right, you might ask, should Christians get involved in politics? Well, we have a few examples here. Remember Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? They were high officials in Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom. And then we had Joseph, and Joseph was second to Pharaoh. And then we had Nehemiah, which after the capture from Babylon with Nebuchadnezzar, 70 years, he was in charge of building the wall, and he was the king's cupbearer. And there's a lot more examples. I mean, tons of kings and high officials that. So yes, now Christians apparently are not as motivated or ambitious, it seems like to me, to go into politics, but we do need good men in there. All right. It's not supposed to be about who you vote, but how you vote. Okay, for example, in Proverbs 14:34, the Bible says, righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a disgrace to any people. We have no perfect candidates. You can bet on that. It's just nobody's perfect here. So we must vote who is the closest to the Bible's values, which is supposed to be our beliefs, and we're supposed to vote our faith. Let's examine their platforms, because they can talk all they want. Whenever politics comes, especially in election year, there's a lot of misinformation out there. So let's look at their record as best as I can. And we're going to be talking about three main things. We're going to be talking about the social morale, how it affects us, the economic stability, and the constitutional law. All right, social morale. The Democrats' platform, therefore the LGBTQ plus, okay, and even just that alone tells you, it used to be the LGBT, and then it just kept going on. And I've heard some people say they're trying to put a P in there for pedophiling, and it can go on and on and on, okay? There's no end to that. There's gender fluid these days where, I think there's like 600 of them, where some people think they're a puppy, some people think they go between male and female and they switch, and there's endless. I can't even list them. But they're for abortion, the Democrats. They're a big supporter of BLM. They're the big supporter of Antifa. Now let's get this clear. I'm not advocating violence in any way, and at times Christians can be unfair and unkind to them, and I'm talking about homosexuals, okay? Unkind to them. But let's be clear about this. The act of homosexuality is a sin, and God will judge it like any sin, like murder, like adultery, like stealing. They just have different consequences. Now, the LGBTQ, as a political movement, they are kind of militant. Okay, I'm not talking about individual homosexuals that are, might be kind to people. I'm not talking about that. Matter of fact, I've worked plenty around people that were homosexuals. And I have a little story where I was going for some training with this lady, and I fixed her car. She was having some car problems, and it was like 25 minutes. It was nothing major. But then I decided to go home for the weekend, and I was telling her I was having some car problems, and I hope I make my 5-hour journey. And she told me that, you call me if you have any problems. I said, that's a long ride. She looked at me straight in the eye. She said, you call me. I'll be there for you. So I'm not attacking people as individuals. I'm talking about a movement. Democrats with the LGBT movement again. They force their ideas on people that don't want the ideas. That's what it should have said there. For example, television shows, the movies. Is so difficult to find a movie that doesn't even have a gay scene anymore. Everything has a gay scene. It's not only just gay scenes, but I mean the immoral of many of these movies. And anyway, I can go on with that. Just watch what you're watching. It's very important. So if you speak against that movement, the LGBTs, They start calling you a horrible person. They have you all over television. They start to defund you. And what do you mean by defunding? I'll give you an example. Remember the baker a couple of years ago from Colorado that I think they knew him. I don't remember. The gay couple that wanted to get married and they wanted him to bake a cake. And he goes, look, I can't do that. That's against my beliefs. He goes, no, you're going to make us a cake. And they sued him over it, and it went all over television. I mean, think about this. Really? I thought that was rule number one. You don't get your waitress upset because they can spit on your food. You really want a person to cook for you that doesn't want to cook for you? That's crazy. So it's obviously an agenda. It's more of a movement behind that. Just go to the next person. I'm sure they'll do it. All right, now teachers are forced to read books to children. My two dads, my two moms. Why in the world are we talking to kids about this? Let them keep their innocence. You can talk to them later if you had to. At least 13 something. So teachers themselves, their religious freedoms are being violated. And there's other things. If this LGBTQ plus, there's a movement out there, there's an old movement that's called NABLA, and basically is the North American Man and Boy Love Association. This is, and this is probably the minority of homosexuals, okay, but that's disgusting. In the name of love, I mean, they want to say it's okay for a man to love a child. I thought it was called pedophilia. There's the movements of the bathrooms where they want to go into a man who feels to be a woman wants to go into a woman's bathroom. There's going to be some problems there if I have my granddaughter going to the bathroom and you have a big man going in there after them. That's going to be some kind of issue there. Also, they have something called story time hour, something like that, where full men in beards, big men are dressed as fairies reading stories to these little kids. And it's not even just reading a story. First of all, it looks freakish. I mean, a man with a beard dressed like that. They're making kids do something called twerking, where they make them shake their booty, and it's kind of disgusting. You have to check out some of those videos. But that's not needed. If you want to do that, have your private club. Don't go to libraries. Libraries is funded by everybody, not just particular people. Okay, another part of the Democrats' platform, they're supportive of the BLM. Okay, now BLM, Black Lives Matters. And it was started by three ladies, supposedly. I mean, they are the founders, but I'm sure they were pushed by somebody with money like Soros. I don't have any proof for that right now. But I'm not even going to mention their names. The two ladies in green, they have a quote. Okay, one of them said, I don't remember which one. I think it was the one with the little mole on her forehead. She says that myself and the lady with the A name, in particular, are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists. That means communists. Okay, they're probably supported by Soros. I don't know if I just said that, but two of them are involved with probably the same ladies in green in witchcraft. Okay, and the same, and I forgot the name of it, but the same type that is used for Santerias in the Caribbeans, and also voodoo. So they also supportive of the dictator in Venezuela. I mean, this is not good company. And you know what? It's not them. I've said this before in episodes, I think 2 and 3 and 4, where the elite, the people that control the world, they're Luciferians. They believe in Satan to rule the world, the all-seeing eye. This is part of the, when the Antichrist takes over everything. They're trying to make everybody, I'm talking about everybody, they're trying to make the world chaotic. So out of the chaos, they rise. So we have to keep things in order as much as possible. All right. They believe in abolishing all police, all prisons. Come on, does that make sense in any way? Obviously, they want chaos. And then, of course, they'll put their police in place. One of them said, and I don't remember which one it was, that white people are subhuman. Well, that's pretty racist, okay? And look, I don't care. Okay, I'm not talking about, I'm not against blacks, I'm not against whites. If you knew my background, that doesn't bother me, okay? I love them all. And I'm just saying this particular set of leadership, it's horrible. That's what I'm saying. And it's supported by the Democrats. All right, Democrats and abortion. Now, look at this picture on the right, and you see that this lady talks about my body, my choice. I see that. It sounds nice. Sounds like a nice little platform, but who gives the little child, the innocent life here, choice? I get it. You've gone through some hard times, but in America, there's there's social help out there, and there's people that want to adopt kids. So please seek for those out. Now, pro-choice is what they call it, okay? But it's not as honest as this one down here. Look at this. You got to almost admire this, how honest they are. Of course, corrupted as can be. But look at that. Abortion on demand and without apology. I mean, that's in your face. At least they tell you the truth. They don't try to hide it between I have a choice, you know? And of course, it's not great, but at least they're telling you the truth. And I remember there was a professor in the Obama administration period of time where she actually said this. She says, yeah, we can have abortions, or we should have abortions up to the age of 3. I think that was called murder, but you see how they change definitions here? But that's actually a real thing. You have to look it up yourself. Now, think about this. If you are a follower of Jesus Christ, how can you possibly justify taking the life of a baby and calling it a choice? Now, I think I mentioned this on the last episode. A lot of Christians will basically say something like this, that support Democrats. They'll say, well, I'm not for it myself, but I support the choice of others to have it. Well, we're going to examine that in a second. Let's think about that for a second, okay? Let's follow this logically. You're saying, I'm not for murder, but I support them murdering somebody. I'm not for stealing, but I support their choice for stealing. I'm not for adultery, but I support their choice for adultery. I'm not into raping, but I support their decision on raping. It doesn't make any sense. And obviously, it's not Christian in any way. So let's just bring that to the light. All right. So I've come to the conclusion that Christians who believe like this, they might be false converts. Okay? If you believe like that, you have to check yourself out. The Bible says examine yourself to see that you're in the faith. This is a really important thing. This is your salvation here, okay? Another one is that you might be under compartmentalization, where, for example, I've gone to some shows, let's say a gun show or something, or some other one, where I met a Christian, and he's a Christian, foul mouth, and I'm looking at him like, I'm a Sunday school teacher. What's going on with you? I'm just get that look like, and he's not even thinking about what he's saying. He's compartmentalizing. Being at church, you act a certain way, and being not at church and you act another. That's horrible. And this is a big topic, and we're going to have to talk about this because this is probably involves childhood issues, social movements. This compartmentalization is destroying us Christians. So we'll talk about that later. All right, the economic part 2, the economic stability. Democrats are for raising taxes. If you have a small business, raising taxes, it's not good for your business, okay? You just got to keep, a lot of people are struggling, and then they keep raising taxes on you, and you just have to keep competing with these big department stores, which is difficult. They get things at super discounts because they buy at super volumes. All right, so in ever-increasing platform like the Democrats about raising taxes, it's right out of the Communist Manifesto. It also says things about abolishing private property, and this is some crazy stuff. So who you vote for might put us on a recession or a recovery, and we can see already that Trump has put the nation into a recovery. Obviously, we had this COVID thing going on, which that's a whole topic in itself. I believe that it is a real thing, no question about it, but it's being used as control and probably trying to reset the United States or the world. All right, so under the Obama administration, you remember 2008, in that period of time where the market fell like 30 to 50%, and when Trump was going for the first time in 2016, Obama made statements like, basically, how are you going to fix the economy? You got a magic wand or something? And basically, apparently he must have, because it was recovering pretty good. Now, the elite, this is the big picture. It always goes back to the elite. They're the ones who really control the movements of this world. And they use little people. Sometimes these little people are called useful idiots. That's not an insult. That's just a term that they don't really know what's going on, or they do know what's going on, but they're being used anyway. So this reset is real, and we're trying to stop that reset. And I remember in this administration here, in the Obama administration, I got the least amount of raises on top of the stock market going down 30 to 50%. And this is the reason, one of the reasons I talked about the money issues about getting out of debt. You don't want to be in a situation where the economy is hurting and you're in debt. So get out of debt. Look at those videos that talks about getting out of debt. They're there. There's like 5 or 6 of them, and I got more to come, but these issues are more important right now. All right, so unfortunately, it seems like Christians or people in general, okay, we'll give up our freedom for a perceived safety. When things are rough, people don't care about their freedom as much. They just want to eat, and they just want to recover. So this is scary, but we'll give up their freedoms for safety. And that's in the Bible somewhere too. Now, number 3, changing our constitutional law. The Democrats, they're for this. Like right now, Trump is putting, what was her name, Barrett, I think, Justice Barrett, trying to get her on the Supreme Court, and it looks like it's going to happen. However, now it seems like the Supreme Court will be a little bit more conservative. Now, Democrats have threatened that if they become in charge, that they will call, what is that term? When they put more judges, there's 9 now. I think there used to be 7 in the past, but they want to increase it to 11, so that way they can put their judges in there and take the balance back to them. So they're talking about doing that. There's already censorship in our Constitution. I mean, right now, they use something called hate speech. And this is their definition, so they can change. It's fluid, this definition. If you're saying something they don't agree with, they'll call it hate speech, and they'll use that to censor you. Like if you're on the internet. High-techs companies are already censoring. Hundreds, I think it's over 1,000 already, conservative channels have been removed since, I don't know, I think the last 10 years. They've been doing this like crazy. Now, after they do this, of course, they'll jump on the Second Amendment. And we know that if the Democrats win, Biden, he's not going to stay in. That guy, he's sick. His mind is not all there. Kamala will take over. She's totally against the Second Amendment, and she said it. So that's, once that goes away, and other things will cascade. Now, Trump receives countless attacks. You got to be honest. If you're not for Trump, you have to be honest that he's been attacked since the beginning. The media, you can't listen to the media unless you hear an attack from Trump. They'll say whatever he says, they'll take a negative spin on it. And some of that is just politics. But it's just full of hate the way they do it. Remember, it started with the fake Russian collusion, that he was with the Russian. That lasted 2-3 years. They impeached him on nonsense. It's crazy. And I don't know if you can read all this in here, but I think one of the big things is that he took us out of NAFTA, which is basically all our money being funneled throughout the world, especially to China, bringing money back. And he's for the borders. It's going slower than we were hoped, but he's for the borders. And look, and I understand. I'm Spanish myself, and if I was illegal and I snuck in, I get it. But I would learn the language, I would study, and I would become an American citizen. But if you're on a life raft, you can only take in but so many people before everybody goes down. But I feel for them. I'll give them money, whatever. You know, it's not an issue of being prejudiced. It's just that we have to first take care of America and then help other people out. Matter of fact, right now, because of this COVID going on and people are losing jobs, millions of people, I think it's up to 2 million of people worldwide are dying because I guess not as much support is going out there because not as much people are making money. So don't get fooled with this COVID thing. It's not only a control, but they're controlling population with it too. All right. Now, Trump is not perfect by any means, okay? But he is a nationalist, and he wants to put America first. You know, personally, he's lost a lot of money in his businesses. I forgot. I saw the number one time. It's huge. And, he's basically working for free. I think there was one incident where he gave all his money to non-working families. And of course, the media will twist that he's not working for free. He kept some of it. Okay, let's say he kept some of it. That's his money. But I don't think any other president has ever done that. Give him credit where credit is due. Now, this administration is the biggest supporter of pro-life and Israel, I think ever. That's incredible. I mean, he's helping Israel quite a bit too. Let's just continue. All right, so vote Bible values. The elite, the people who pull the strings and control, okay, they don't, they don't like Trump. I mean, actually, it's more like hate. He must be doing something right. We might not agree with it, but he's doing something against their agenda, which is mainly Luciferian. Satan knows whoever owns the family owns the future. So our families are being destroyed by actually the Democratic agenda. Sorry, but it's true. Let me be clear that we should vote for Trump. His platform goes closer to the Christians' values. Is he perfect? No, absolutely not. But I hope we had Christian presidents out there, but that are seriously deep studying theologians, but we don't have them. We're not that ambitious, apparently. And Biden has been in the government for 37 years. Now all of a sudden he can change everything. 37 years. Look at his record. He hasn't changed much in 37 years. Has on record, he's said the N-word. He's done, him and Kamala have voted for things that have put, I think, 2 million black people longer in jail. I just search it out. It's there. I just don't have the details of it. And they call him creepy Biden in Washington. There's a reason for that. There's plenty of pictures where he's rubbing in the little girls' hairs. He's whispering something to them, and the little girls look at him like, what did you say? So there's a lot more to that. I just don't want to get involved with that right now. All right. Now, the last one. All life matters to the Lord. Whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're in between, whether you're born, whether you're unborn. John 3:16, the famous verse. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believed in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. But you got to repent, you got to believe, you got to follow him, and you have to live the life like Christ wants you to live. Not what you think it's right. It's not your God. You don't make your own God. You make the God of the Bible in your life. All right, you found this to be valuable? Please subscribe, thumbs up, and pass it along to somebody else. This is the Bible Ranger, keeping the Bible simple, yet rich in content. Thank you.